What is up, guys, and welcome back to our St. Louis Blues Fantasy Draft Franchise Mode series. In the last video, we won the Stanley Cup. Going into the fantasy draft, that was our goal, was to win now and lift the drought that has been over St. Louis since a long time ago. It's been 40, 50 years, somewhere in that span. Since the St. Louis Blues entered the NHL, and they have never won a Stanley Cup until 2017, until this season. We got it done on the back of Erik Karlsson, and yeah, it was fun, and it was a good season, and it was a good playoff run. The Ducks really scared us in the Western Conference Finals, but other than that, we steamrolled people, including our arch rival Washington Capitals. So in this video, we are doing the draft, and depending on how quickly that goes, we will do free agency. If not, I might hold on to that until next video. So we will at least be doing the 2017 NHL entry draft in this video. And something that I want to work on in terms of our team is getting younger and better players for our second forward line. Now, we're very deep, and we're very experienced, and we're very old. Our old guy line was good for us. They were the third line maybe, and we also have a bunch of other old guys scattered out like Van Eck throughout our lines, and those guys are going to retire very soon, maybe the end of this season, and we would like to upgrade on those guys and get younger and better players, and we might use a couple of draft picks to do that. We have 2 first-round picks. We have ours and the pick that belongs to the Minnesota Wild. So I'm going to see what would be available here towards the end of the first round, because that is where we're going to be. We obviously won the cup, so we will be picking 30th. And Minnesota, I believe we played them in the second round, so they're probably going to be low 20s. So let's just count out like 20 picks down from the top. So obviously we have a top 5 and a top 10. So Skinner there is 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I said we'd do 15, but we did 20 anyways. So below 20 started at like Rasanen. So maybe we're looking at these list of guys with our wild pick. We'll get something in here. And unfortunately, we don't have any guys that are high in terms of their potential, a high scouted potential. We just have this medium, and that really sucks. We only saw these guys like one time in scouting. Doesn't make any sense, but we did completely scout out Valimaki. Whatever game, whatever. EA scouting system is horrific, and it needs to be a lot better than it is. We scouted this whole season, and we only have a couple of guys with even high potential, or with the high scouted potential. And Liljegren has a high scouted potential, but we saw him 0 times. Okay, sure game, sure. That's something that I would like to see a big change in for NHL 18 is the scouting system. Make it better. I don't have any exact suggestions as to how EA should go about doing that, but they definitely should make it better somehow. So we're not going to trade up in this draft just because no matter where we try to go, we don't really know what's going to be there. So taking a look at who was selected, D. Grant. Is that a created player? Is there really a created player in the first draft? And why is he a top 5 pick if there is? So D. Grant is high top 6 defenseman. Went to the Montreal Canadiens. Dustin Grant. Dustin Grant is the most Polish name ever. Sure, EA. Yep, Dustin Grant, the Pole. Alright. So that looks like a terrible second overall pick. Dude has like a third of a trade bar. It's a third of a trade bar. And so looking at these picks before us, we got a bunch of medium top 6 forwards, and medium top 4 defensemen. Cal Foote was low elite, fell all the way to 12. Wow, that'd have been a good pick right there at 10. Christian Vesalainen, medium elite. Outside of that, pretty standard for the first round, except for Dustin Grant. So if we were making this pick here at 19, so Minnesota got the 19th overall pick, a little bit better than I was expecting. So if we picked here, I guess Valimaki could be a medium top 6 defenseman, or we could take a guess on somebody, maybe somebody like Owen Tippett, medium top 9. That would lead you to believe that he'd be elite potential, but he's probably going to be medium top 6. So I just don't know from this draft, and that's what really sucks. So I'm going to look to try to trade both of these first round picks for better second line forwards. I'll show you guys what we have a lot of people to re-sign this offseason. We have 21 million salary cap available, which is fantastic. But if you look at this, Draisaitl and Toffoli are going to want a whole lot more money. Van Neck probably going to want more money than that. We might save a little bit on Ribeiro, but it'll be tough to tell at this point. Bonino's going to want a little bit more. Verbata's definitely going to want more. I'm going to save on guys like Marleau and Fisher and hopefully Iginla and Williams. But for the most part, we're going to be shelling out quite a bit of dough coming up in this re-sign period. Now on defense, who knows what's going to happen with Seidenberg, if we're going to keep him or not. But we could use another defenseman here. So I'll look for maybe a second pairing defenseman and second line forward. And our goaltending, obviously Murray, we're fine, and Ranta, we're also fine. So that's that. And here's what we have in terms of draft picks. We have the Wild's pick and ours. Our second, our third, a couple of fourths, a fifth, a couple of sixths, and a couple of sevenths. I'm going to go ahead and call a timeout because I'm going to need it. I'm actually going to go ahead and call 2. I don't know if I'm going to need all that time, but why not go ahead and use those? You get 5 in a draft, and you're never really going to use them all. So let's just see what we can get for our 2 first round picks. And I've already looked through a couple of teams. Let's see here. The Hurricanes, we can look at everyone, all skaters, that is. A guy like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins here would be not a bad option to go for. 5x6 though for his contract isn't the best, but a guy like Fabry, he's still on his entry-level deal, and he has 1 more year on it, so we could get him for less than $1 million for a year. Not bad stats. The only problem with going for Fabry is he's pretty much a lateral move over the guys we have currently, and I'm trying to improve on that position if I can and save money. It's such a tough task. We want to get a better player, a younger player, and a lower cap player, all in one. So I don't know if that's possible, but Nylander might be an option. Yeah, he has 1 more year left on his entry-level deal. William Nylander does. 86 overall, 21. Pretty decent stats across the board. Second line role, right winger. So he wouldn't be bad. Let's just see what his trade value looks like compared to our picks. Our picks are a lot more valuable than William Nylander. And I believe if we actually made those picks, they would be terrible value. The players we would get from those picks would not be good. So I'd like to move these picks if I can. Let's just go to teams that want the first round picks first and see what they have to offer. Hopefully I didn't just cut off my cable on accident. Oh well, that's neither here nor there. Sod, my goodness, why is he so low? 84 overall. Wow, the Dallas Stars are treating their players like absolute shit, apparently. At least they're NHL players. So Sod way down here. But he has a big contract, so that kind of sucks. 5x6. He's an 84 overall. So something's going on in Dallas. Now the players are happy. I know if we trade for him, he'd be higher than 84 because his morale would go back up, and so would his overall. I just said the same thing twice, but that's okay. Jesus Christ, Ryan Johansson's trade value is through the roof. We cannot afford that. Strome is the only other option here in Detroit, and that's not a very attractive option. Anyone else? The Canadians. So they just picked that weak high top 6 defenseman. Do they have anything to offer? Jeff Skinner. What kind of contract is he on? He's on a nearly $6 million for 2 more years, so that's not the best. Evander Kane, maybe. $5 million, Burakovsky, so he's going to need a new deal too. We do not want to trade for a guy like Burakovsky. Man, I might end up taking forever just to find this first trade. Here we go with the Penguins, see what they have. Squeaky chair. They've got quite a bit of high-end talent. Boone Jenner down here. Pretty good defensive player, a two-way forward. That's his contract. Pretty cheap, less than $3 million for Boone Jenner. He is an option. The Vancouver Canucks. What do they have? Austin Matthews. They have Austin Matthews. He's a pretty good player. You guys might have heard of him. Ivan Provorov. He might have 2 years left. Oh, he will have 2 more years after starting next season on an entry-level deal. His stats are insane. So we wouldn't be getting a second-line forward, but we would be getting a second-pairing defenseman who might even overtake Ryan Murray. He probably would overtake Ryan Murray, actually, very quickly. So he is an option. Maybe a guy like Jacob Trouba if you want to be a little bit cheaper, but he is not as good as Provorov. Let's see what the trade value looks like. And we are heavily favored here in trade value, so we'll keep Ivan Provorov in mind. There was somebody I saw before I started this video. Can't remember what team he was on, but let's take a gander. I don't think it's anybody here. Is it Arizona? It might be Arizona. As our clock is ticking down to 7 minutes. I just looked. I meant Anaheim. It might be Anaheim. Jeez. I'm losing it, guys. I'm losing it. 12 minutes. We haven't done anything yet in this video. And I am losing it. So, no, I don't know. Maybe it was Boston. I'm just going to go through each team and say maybe it was them until I find it. Panarin, that's what it was. Panarin on Boston. The thing with Panarin on Boston is the $6 million cap, but I don't know. Don't know. Charlie McAvoy down there. Yeah, so let's just try to get Provorov, I guess. Well, let's take a look at our defensemen one more time. One more time. So defensemen here were pretty weak. And we have a couple of low elite prospects down here in Bean and Waugh, but we cannot count on them getting anywhere near our NHL roster anytime soon. And I feel like if they do get up there, it will be hey, look, they made it. And if they don't, it'll be I'm not really that surprised type thing. So we're looking at Erik Karlsson, obviously, as our top right-handed defenseman. Ryan Murray as our second line left, or our top pairing left. And then Chychrun actually is also left-handed, so he might be our second line left-handed guy for next season if he grows a couple of overall points. And we'd also be trading for Provorov, who also fits that bill. Fuck it. I'm just gonna try to trade for Provorov. We can look to sign guys maybe for our forward line. Who knows? Who knows? This may or may not be the best trade I can make. I don't know. I could go through each and every single team, but I do not want to do that. So since the trade values are in our favor, let's see if we can get anybody else from the Vancouver Canucks. See if we can grab anybody else in this trade. So they got Rantanen and Connor. I might look to try to get one of those guys back. So we will have traded for those guys, traded away those guys, and traded for those guys, all in the span of a year. They would probably hate us, but I don't give a shit what they think. We might look to try to get Aho. He has... Okay, so all three of these guys have 2 years left on their deal. Actually, I'm stupid. Mikko Rantanen and Kyle Connor were in our Bruins series, not this series. We've had both those guys elsewhere, but we have not had them here. I am losing my fucking mind. So. Aho, what's he looking like right now? Pretty good. Looks like he should be listed as a two-way forward, but pretty good stats. Still has a really friendly contract, as do Kyle Connor and Mikko Rantanen. Neither of those guys did too well for us in the Bruins series, but everything could be different here. You never know. Looks like Rantanen had the better NHL season of the pair, and of the trio actually. So Aho has the medium potential tag, but it is top 6 compared to low elite. He's 1 year younger, 2 overall points lower, and he has a little bit worse morale. So maybe his morale is bringing down his overall a couple of points. They're all left wingers, so that doesn't really matter. Let's just try to get Aho, because why not? So the value you have on the table is too far off. Let's see if we can throw them anything back. The thing about this season, or this off season, with how many players we have a shit ton of guys that are the last year of their deal. So the thing with that is you can't trade guys on the last year of their deal because the other team will not accept it. We could look to trade a guy like Dano here, and let's just see if that tips the scales in our favor any. No, it still says the value on the table is too far off. So let's look at all skaters. I don't know why I was looking at just forwards. I'll actually go to skaters matching block and see what's here. Nothing really. Nothing really. Just Dano's the only guy with no trade value that is on that list. What about goalies in general? Anyone here we would want to trade? Maybe Wedgwood, just because he's kind of the odd man out right now. So we'll throw Wedgwood in there. Why not? And then we'll throw Dano in there as well, and see what the Canucks say to this deal. They say the value sending our way isn't sufficient at all. Is there any other draft picks that they want? I might be willing to toss in a third in this deal. So 2 firsts and a third for Provorov and Aho. They do not want any future draft picks whatsoever. So we're probably going to have to shoot a little bit lower than Aho in terms of closing out this deal. And it might turn out that, you know, the Canucks just don't want to trade Provorov at all. We can't get him for anything. As we are down to 2 minutes left. Jeez. Check out Stromwall, actually. Got damn good offensive stats for a 71 overall. Stromwall, he's 72 though. Or he's not 72, he's 22. But they do want to trade him, so that might help us out a little bit. Looking at these guys. Tolchinsky. What the fuck is up with your face, bud? What is up with your face? You look like a rat mixed with a 15-year-old. I don't fucking know. With Justin Bieber hair, throw that in there as well. Yeah, he's only a 70 overall, but his offensive stats are pretty damn good. Whatever, man. Tolchinsky, you'll throw him in this deal. See if they will do that. The value on the table is too far off. You know what? Fuck it. Will this even go through? And it does. So we just traded 2 first-round picks for Ivan Provorov, and Hartnell's just been traded to the Hurricanes. Whatever. So there's Provorov. He will be a second-line defenseman for us this season and in the future. He actually might pass up Ryan Murray for the first-line minutes. We'll have to see in that respect. And actually, before I make this selection, I'm going to go and see what we would have gotten with our picks if we would have just made the selections. And we would have gotten, could have gotten like Nikolai Papagayev, the medium top 6 guy. Stuart Skinner, medium starter. So is Scott. And so is Luukkonen. And with our 30th pick, we'd have gotten Owen Tippett, medium top 6 guy. So a couple of medium top 6 guys. Young prospects that would take a while to get to the league, or we could have Ivan Provorov. I'll take Ivan Provorov. We could have probably gotten more back in that trade, but I just wanted to get it over with, and I did just that. So, no, I do not want to sort by their names. I want to sort by their potentials, and it is not looking too good in terms of players' potentials right now. Is not looking good at all. Is there anything in the goalie department? Bertuzzi here in the 3rd round, but nah, that is not very attractive. So nothing here The scouting really failed us here in this first season. I just do not know where to go. And you can't really see any of their attributes, and you can't really see their potentials. So I'm just taking a shot in the dark here. Are there any cool names? Alan Lethargic. We'll call him Alan Lethargic. You know what? I'm going to draft Alan Lethargic just because I came up with a cool nickname for him on the spot. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you guys enjoy the nickname of Alan Lethargic. He's a medium bottom 6 player. Not the best second round pick. So one thing I've noticed about doing these first year NHL drafts is that on the top end it's pretty good. As you can see, Vesalainen fell as a medium elite to pick 10, and you could get a low elite at pick 12. But if you look in the second and third rounds, it gets ugly quick. So right there at the end of the second round, we got a medium bottom 6 guy. That's not good. That's not what you want to see from that pick. So who's this? Scott Mahovlich. One of the two. He looks to be a top 9 forward potential, and I'm not sure if we're going to get anything better than that anytime soon or anywhere around this pick. Although this Philip Kravosik guy looks to have pretty decent stats, but him being from I think that's Slovakia. Him being from Slovakia, he might end up being a bottom 6 potential guy. We'd probably have a B in scouting accuracy in whatever league he played in. Actually, I could have looked at the league from that menu. So he played in Liga, and we probably had a B for scouting accuracy there. So we're just going to pick Mahovlich. Scott Mahovlich, welcome to the St. Louis Blues. Welcome to the reigning Stanley Cup champion organization. And I will not be getting to free agency in this video. I might get to the screen where you can see who's available and then call it a video there, but at the same time, all these decisions we'll be making on re-signing players. I don't know if we will get that far. So we're just going to pick Cale Fleury here. He's got the best potential of anyone around, and he might be a low bottom 4 or a low top 4 guy. If anything, a medium top 6. He was low top 4, so that's a really good pick for the 4th round, especially considering how in the 2nd round we got a medium bottom 6 guy. So that was Minnesota's 4th round pick, and now we're looking at our 4th round pick, and it is ugly. It is ugly. I think we're just going to pick Vaini Väiväläinen. I end up with him in most of the series that I do, and he'll have a decent trade value. Probably a medium fringe starter. Yeah, medium fringe starter, and that's probably better than anything else we're going to get in terms of skaters. As it looks like we are stuck with AHL potential guys. So this is our 5th round pick, and we have 4 more picks left in this draft. Kind of don't want to make them all. I kind of do not want to make all those picks. Holy shit. So Sami Tamminen, if you look at his offensive awareness, this is 84 yellow. Worst case, I would say it's probably like a 75, which would mean he's going to be a somewhat higher overall guy. So I'm just going to draft Sami Tamminen and see what we got there from that pick. It's probably nothing spectacular. Low bottom 6 for Sami Tamminen, but I'm okay with that. It's better than the AHL potential guys, probably. So, whatever. This draft is ugly. This draft is ugly. So, Sami Tamminen's a 68 overall. Looking at his stats, 79 offensive awareness and an 81 passing. So, this guy is going to be really good offensively and then really poor defensively. And Since this trade is so, or since this draft is so bad, actually, I'm probably going to trade these last 4 picks. I do not want to make them whatsoever. So we will trade them. I doubt any team wants these picks, but we will fly through and double check. Okay, they do not. We're going to find a team with a rebuilder tag. Apparently there's no rebuilders in the NHL. Oh, there's one. The Vancouver Canucks are listed as a rebuilder. So let's see if we can get their 3rd round pick from this. Nope. Okay, we cannot get their 3rd. Can we get a 4th and a 5th? I'd be happy with that. Flipping 4 late round picks for a 4th and a 5th for next season. So let's try just a 4th. Wow. Wow. So let's try a 5th, a 6th, and a 7th for next season for 4 picks this season. Nope, they're not interested in what we are sending. Okay, whatever. I'm fine with that. Trading away 4 picks in the rest of this shitty draft for a 5th round pick next season is fine with me. So yeah. So that was our draft for this season. I'm going to try to fly through the re-sign stage really quickly. I'm trying to keep this video relatively short. And yeah, sim to re-sign phase, because why not? We have 17 players that are about to become restricted free agents. I think that's what that said. And then quite a few UFAs. So we have 41 million in cap space. I'll pull out my handy dandy calculator app so we can save money. And in this series, I'm not too worried about the 15% rule, as opposed to the Bruins series, because this being a fantasy draft series, we're throwing realism out the door, obviously. So we're gonna abuse the 15% trick. And if you do not know what the 15% trick is, basically take the cap number that a player is asking to re-sign for, multiply it by 0.85, so take 15% off of it, and that player will re-sign for that number automatically, unless of course he doesn't want to return to the team for like locker room issues or morale issues or something. So take Leon Draisaitl for example. We're going to do 6.3 times 0.85, and that tells us 5.355. So we're going to offer him a contract of 5.375 because that is the next highest number. You got to round up all the time. Always got to round up on these guys. So obviously we want to sign Toffoli and Draisaitl. We want to keep them around, keep those young guys around. And Thomas Vanek wants $4 million. We will have to hold off on that and see if we can afford that, because I'm not sure if we can. That's a lot of players to re-sign. Jesus. So stick with me here. Mike Ribeiro wants $3.7 million for 1 year. He's probably going to regress. So is Marlowe. He wants $3.6 million. Jesus Christ. Bonino. I'm fine with Bonino because he's 29 years old. He is not going to regress anytime soon. And push comes to shove, he can be our second line center. It's 3.54 times that 0.85. Saves about $500,000 on Bonino's contract by doing the 15% trick. Seidenberg. These players, man, they all want $3 million. And I do not know if we can give them all $3 million. And the thing is, no one's taking like these 1-year discounts. Justin Williams is the worst guy of the bunch. So Beaulieu, yeah, Beaulieu is a guy we're going to sign for 1 year at a really low cap hit. We're going to sign him for $1.5 million. All right. Mike Fisher, how much do you want? 2.8. Aginla wants 2.9. Sam Bennett, can we get you for any type of long-term deal? No, we cannot. So I'll do this 2-year, 2.2. and we will change that to 1.875. Save a little bit of money on him. And then Bo Bennett, we will give him a 1-year deal because he's nearing the end of his progression. And if we can sign these players to minor league two-way deals, I am more than happy with that. So this 1 million will make that 850,000 for Paquette. Push comes to shove, these guys can play our fourth line, and if any of them progress at all, they can play the third line. So we might not need quite the number of aging veterans that we have on our top line. Andrighetto, we can afford to go 2 years with you since you're only 24. Dahlbeck, 1 year. Pitlick, 1 year. Oh, he wants a one-way deal. Fuck. So I just signed Pitlick to a 1-year deal on accident. Oh well, no biggie. Rundblad, sure, why not? And Nate Schmidt, 1 year for you. As your face is busted, buddy. Get that shit fixed. So, looking at our goaltending, holy shit, Veini Vavalainen was a 78 overall already. So what we're going to do, we are not going to sign him these first couple of years. We're going to let him grow without using a roster spot, and let him grow while we also can afford to play some of these other guys. And the decision we're making here is to either re-sign Anton Forsberg or not, because Wedgwood and Fitzpatrick can man the AHL squad for us, while Forsberg and Wedgwood have the same overall, same age. It's just a medium backup versus low fringe starter, and I think I'm leaning towards the medium backup, especially since we already have him on contract. So we're going to go ahead and release Anton Forsberg into the Wild. I'm going to go ahead a day and see how much cap space we have. I'd imagine we still have something like 27 or 28 million. As all these guys re-sign. Actually, we might have something like 24, 25. Not sure quite yet. 26 million left. Okay, so that's close. That's close. Oh, quite a number of decisions to make here. I did not get to the bottom of the list. What the hell? Why did I stop? So Tenorti, 1 year. Clayson, 1 year. Why not? Okay. How many guys do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if we give them all 3 million, that would put us at 24 million, which we would stay under the cap. Just making sure we're done in terms of goaltending, and we are. So Matt Murray's on a good contract. I didn't even realize that. He's got 3 years left at 3.75 to be a starting goalie. That is fantastic. So we're saving quite a bit of money on him. And okay, so let's take a look at all expiring. Vanek. Vanek's pretty good. 86 overall. As I'm trying to open my calculator app again. Pretty damn good offensive stats, and 45 points on the season is pretty good. And in the playoffs, he had 15 points in 22 games. So he's definitely a guy that we're interested in re-signing. The only problem is he wants 2 years. If we try to get him for 1 year, he wants a whole $1 million more. So he would only take 3.575 to re-sign. And I think that's definitely worth it for a second line guy, because he'll be on our second line no matter what happens, I believe, unless we find a better fit for him somewhere else. But he's definitely going to be like our 4th best forward. That's the word. He's a forward. 3.7 for Ribeiro for a single season. Still has pretty damn good offensive stats. I think no matter, as long as he doesn't regress like an insane amount, he's still going to be viable offensively. And yeah, so going that 1 extra year to save 250 grand is not going to be worth it. We can get him for 3.15, and we will do so. Pretty good for a guy like Ribeiro. I would imagine that he would regress a couple overall points, but he still has pretty damn good offensive stats, and his defense is not horrific. So I believe he would be a fine addition to our year 2 St. Louis Blues. So a guy I'm not sold on is Patrick Marleau. Looking at his stats last season, only 32 points, only 8 in the playoffs, and he's basically mediocre, a mediocre type guy all around, with his 85s and low 80s offensive stats, except for discipline, and then low 80 to mid 80 defensive stats. 4.5 star skating is pretty good, but at 37, I would imagine he's going to regress going into next season. I do not want to pay $3.6 million for a guy that's going to regress, so he is gone. Let's check out our defense to see if we even need a guy like Seidenberg. I would imagine that we do, but I just want to double check. We could probably live without him. Seeing that we have Carlson and Murray or Provorov as our top pairing, and then Murray or Provorov probably paired with Chychrun as our second pairing, and then Beaulieu and Sanheim as our third. So we do not need Dennis Seidenberg. So I'm going to look to try to save as much money as possible here, so that when it comes to actual free agency, I can make a bigger splash. So Verbata here, he came up with that huge goal for us in the playoffs. That 1 second remaining left in the period goal. I think it's actually the game. 1 second left remaining in the game. Won a Stanley Cup Final game for us, if I'm remembering that correctly. Pretty good playoff performer, pretty good regular season performer, and I'm gonna try to re-sign him, but on a 1-year deal for sure. We do not want to be signing any of these old guys to a 2-year deal, as we would see 2 years of regression if they didn't retire. So we can get him for $2.925, not bad. So we're signing Vanek, Ribeiro, and Verbata. Let's see, from this list, I guess Aginla is probably the guy that we want the most. So let's see what Aginla's going for. Aginla only wants 2.9. What would that be? That'd be 2.475. I'm fine with that. Be a really good bottom 6 guy for us. Okay, so we're going to see where we stand in terms of money, as I need more water. I am just sucking down the water, Jesus. Hope that did not sound too weird, as it like bubbled as it went into my mouth. So, all those guys sign. Let's see what kind of cap room we're working with. We still have $16.5 million to work with. And let's take a look at what our forward lines might look like. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So Mantha saw some pretty good progression towards the end of that season. He's going to be a third liner for us for sure. If he sees some between season growth, he might even be a second liner for us. And then, so that was 8, I believe. Yes, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we don't even need these guys, these last couple of guys here. And I think I'm going to avoid signing them and leave ourselves quite a bit of cap space to try to sign somebody big in free agency. Typically, you don't see that in the first year of a fantasy draft. You don't see a lot of really good free agents that first year. But of course, as I say that, we're probably going to get a bunch of big names out there. So Dylan Strome here needs to work on his offensive awareness. But outside of that, his offensive stats are fantastic. And he might see a bit of a between-season jump. And I hope he does. Same with Sam Bennett. So we're going to go with this roster into free agency. And we will be saying goodbye to Mike Fisher and Justin Williams. They did good for us. Actually, I'm going to look at their stats. So they are going to be leaving St. Louis as Stanley Cup champions. Good for them. Good for them. Mike Fisher, 25 in the season and 11 in the playoffs. So he really stepped up in the playoffs for us. And Justin Williams, 27 and 8 in the playoffs. So both of those guys We're solid bottom line guys, except for Williams. When we put him on that old guy line, and we had that as our second line throughout the season, they were pretty bad. But that's neither here nor there right now. We are looking to advance to free agency. Now I'm going to show you guys who is available and see if we want to make a big splash this season. So we're going to see a couple morale changes up there, as we did not re-sign a couple of guys. So Jaromir Jagr. We are going after Jaromir Jagr 100% for sure. He only wants 1 year, and we can give him as much money as he would like. So that's who's available. We could look at a guy like Trevor Daley or Alzner, try to get them for maybe 1 year. And then let's see. I always press the wrong trigger there. We want to see goalies, not UFAs. So Jagr would be a big pickup for us. And Elliott even. No, we still have Ranta on a really good deal. Yeah, we don't need Elliott. We do not need Elliott. Although, if I was in the market for a backup, an 84 overall at just $2.25 million, sign me up for that. Sign me up for that. Let's take a look at any prospects that were not re-signed. Maybe Siemens down here. 77 overall, 8-23. Not bad. Just a couple of bottom six guys. So we're probably not going to see any unsigned good prospects until we get a couple seasons in, because after the fantasy draft, teams are only at 32 contracts out of 50. So it's not like they cannot make roster room for their prospects. So really only one big name here in free agency, and that's Jagr. We also might take a stab at guys like Alzner and Daley. So it's unfortunate that we still have $16.5 million for this lackluster free agent class. But Jagr at age 45. 45-year-old Jaromir Jagr still kicking it in the league. He had 62 points last season and 17 points in 18 playoff games. That is huge. That would be huge. So Alzner and Daley are not bad. We'd probably like to sign them for 1 year. Let's see what they would ask for. Alzner would ask for quite a bit of money, but that's okay because obviously this year we can afford it. And so yeah, that's that. I'm going to wrap it up here. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. As always, share this video with your friends if they enjoy this kind of thing. Even if they don't, share it with them anyways. So yeah, in the next video, we're going to look to take a stab at free agency and get into the season. Get into our year 2 simulation as we are on our quest to repeat as Stanley Cup champions. See you guys next time.
Woo!